Welcome. In today's video we're going to be tapping on the money shadow, and by the money shadow I mean those beliefs that we have about money that are stopping you from having the money that you want to have and doing the things that you want to do with your life. Because like it or not, the reality is we need money to be able to put a roof over our head, food on the table, and live the life that you want to live and create what it is that you're wanting to create in the world. There's a lot of beliefs that are in the way of that, and we're going to tap on those today. But before we do, if you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Sandra Inman. I'm the author of Tapping into Abundance using EFT tapping and the law of attraction to change your mindset and turn your life around. If you want to grab a copy of that, either in paperback or Kindle on Amazon, the link is in the description field below this video. As a spiritual people, there's this real issue about money and charging for services and not having people think that you're only in it for the money and then you going without, basically, as a result, or being in a constant state of anxiety because you're struggling to make ends meet. And it's all to do with this fixation that we have in spiritual community about money being a bad thing. And it's just totally wrong way to think about money. Money is neutral, okay? It's neutral energy. What the problem is, when we see some of the big corporations out there, being incredibly corrupt, when we see the corruption around money, the corruption's not coming because of money itself. It's coming because of scarcity mindset. The corruption comes from a fear of not having the money disappearing, the money not being there, not getting enough money. So whether you're a corporation or whether you're a single person and you're accumulating a lot of money, if you've got a scarcity mindset around it, then you're going to be in a state of greed because you don't want to lose it. So love of money is not the root of all evil. It's the scarcity mindset that's the root of all evil, because it's the scarcity mindset that puts us in a state of fear, and it's fear that causes people to react in really nasty ways. And that need for power also comes from fear. Every negative thing that we do comes from fear at its source. The source is fear. You've got fear on one end and love on the other. So everything that is negative, it comes from fear, a reaction to not being able to survive. So really think about that. Because from a spiritual point of view, if you look at all of the religions around the world that are polytheistic and have deities, many deities, there are in every pantheon deities who are about prosperity, abundance, and love. And if you've ever worked with any of them, there is such a connection of love and prosperity. And if you are a monotheist, there's that energy of money is also coming from a place of abundance. And abundance has got that really loving, positive energy. So to really tap into abundance, you've got to start loving all manifestations of it, money included, and have a relationship with it that is positive, where you're not going into fear. If you provide a service, so whether you are a healer, whether you're a teacher, whether you do divinations for people, all sorts of things in the spiritual community, if you've got issues about charging for what you do, or even how much you charge, if you've got people telling you that you shouldn't be charging for what you're doing, or you're charging too much for what you're doing because you're supposed to be spiritual, and so therefore you should be giving everything away, or having it go really cheaply, and if you're falling into listening to those messages, then you're really not understanding spirituality at all. You're not understanding the energy exchange in the universe, that the truth is nothing is for free. There is always an exchange of some sort. And the value that you place on your skill, on your expertise, and on your time and your effort equals how much you charge. And if people want to take from you, of your skill, your knowledge, your expertise, your energy, if you're an energy worker, then they should expect to damn well pay for it, because otherwise they're stealing from you. They're just taking, taking, taking. You drain out, you don't get anything, and you end up barren, essentially. Like we're raping the planet. So we rape the planet. We just take from the planet Earth. Take, 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 take. And wonder why we have all of these problems with climate change and all the stuff going on around us in regards to the Earth. Because we've been take, 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 and we don't give back. Humans are like that too. And don't let anybody try to convince you that as a spiritual person, you shouldn't be charging for what it is that you do. Because those people who are complaining about it are the people who just want to take. They're the takers. So don't get caught up in that. Understand that you have something to give, and if the other person wants it, there's an exchange going on there. Now, maybe it isn't monetary. Maybe they exchange in other ways. You might swap services. You might do a swap with another practitioner. Or maybe they've got a craft or a skill and they can make something for you and give you something in return in other ways. That's fine, because you're still exchanging energy. But most of the way that we do that in our modern world is through money. So we need to get over the issues with money. Now, if you're a person who's struggling with charging for your services and putting yourself out there and putting a dollar sign on what you do, you need to look into your shadow. Because your shadow is probably judging other people for doing exactly the same thing. And until you stop judging yourself for doing it, you'll keep judging them. And of course, the money still isn't going to come to you because you're putting up a barrier against it. So in this tapping, we're going to confront our beliefs about money and spirituality. So beginning with the karate chop point. There I am. I have all of these beliefs about money. And if I'm honest with myself, I'm quite proud of them. It makes me a spiritual person. And I'm just going to honor how I feel. Here I am. I don't want to do this for money. And I say to people, oh, I'm not in it for the money. And that may very well be true. But I'm anxious every day because I don't know where the money's going to come from. I don't know if I have enough. It feels like I don't have enough. And I'm just going to honor how I feel. Even though I have these beliefs about money, shoulds and shouldn'ts about money, they're not helping me. They're keeping me poor and stopping me from doing what I really came here to do in the world. And I'm just going to honor how I feel anyway. So tapping on the points. I have these beliefs about money. Spiritual people should not do things for money. Spiritual people should not do things for money. Spiritual people should not do things for money. We're generous. We give. We believe that we should go without. It's a noble belief. Putting other people before myself. Putting their needs ahead of mine. Putting their need for money ahead of mine. Keeping myself poor so they don't have to go without. Keeping myself poor. Keeping myself second. That's the spiritual thing to do. Even if it means not knowing where the next rent's coming from. Not knowing where the money's going to come from to pay all the bills. Not having a savings account. Not having a buffer. Feeling the guilt every time I charge for my services. Feeling the guilt, the shame every time I talk about money. I feel guilty about the action of charging for what I do. And then I feel shame about myself, that I'm a bad person for charging. So why don't I just give it all away? Do it all for nothing. Or do it on the cheap. Buy into the myth. Just do it. Not charge the value of my services. Not charge for what I do. Or not charge much for it. And see how long I last. See how long I can provide that service. Because I have a feeling it's not going to be for long. This guilt about money. It's not about the money. I don't know how I'm going to put food on the table. I don't know how I'm going to pay the rent. It's not about the money. I'll put everyone ahead of me. Live in a cardboard box. Eat grass. While everyone gets their service. They'll get their products. They'll get their healing. They'll get their classes. And they'll do well from it. And I'll live in a cardboard box and eat grass because that's what I deserve. It's what I deserve for being a spiritual person. Putting everyone ahead of me. Putting everyone ahead of me. Okay, taking a deep breath and letting it out. So this is where we start to add some sarcasm to the tapping, because if you want to look at it from that point of view, if you're in the mindset that as a spiritual person you should not be making money from what it is that you're giving and doing, then resign yourself to living in a cardboard box and eating grass, because that is the sarcastic extreme of the situation. Now, if you go to a healer, a practitioner, or you want to do a course or something, do you judge that person for how much they charge you? Do you expect them to live in a cardboard box and eat grass? Are you aware of maybe what expenses they may have? Whether they live in a really nice, beautiful, big home or whether they don't? What are you criticizing about them and why? Because that's you criticizing you as well. So every time you criticize a corporation, whether they deserve it or not, you're also criticizing yourself. So looking at the shadow aspect is that they're a reflection of the parts of yourself that you don't want to own. And that is the fear of not having enough, the fear of scarcity. So if you want to work a little bit harder on that, if you know that that's a big block for you and you want to do some work, with me, then I do offer a 30-minute free clarity session, and the link to my calendar is in the description field below this video. We can have a chat for about half an hour, find out what your biggest blocks are, and if you're wanting to move forward and you're in a position where you know that you've got the time to be able to invest in yourself and the motivation to invest in yourself, then we can talk about working together. I also have a Facebook group, and we do group tapping together every second and fourth Saturday of the month morning here in Australia. And that is a really cost-effective way of doing some tapping in a very small group of people. So check that out. The link to that is in the description field below this video as well. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. I'm Sandra Inman, and I'll see you on the next video.